I want to know one big thing about history. How much of it is real and how much of it was simply orchestrated? How much of it was just done to fit this crazy Masonic system that exists and describes every aspect of everything that's been done in our nation's history? Yes, I believe that shots were fired. I believe that people died on 9/11. I believe there were cannons going off at Lexington and Valley Forge. Real soldiers really froze to death. Yes, I believe it. But the question that I have, the big question, were the outcomes known from the beginning by both sides? Were they simply planning exactly what they knew they wanted to happen? It sure sounds consistent with what we see today, with both sides of every war throughout our history having been, and throughout world history having been financed, both sides being financed by the same people. The way we see Republicans on one side, Democrats on the other, but we always end up with something in the middle that kind of looks like something, a conglomeration of both, that you can kind of tell it's where they were headed from the very beginning. Always headed a little more towards this new world order. So that's my question. Were the outcomes known from the beginning? So let's consider some of this about our nation's history. Let's consider, okay, when did it start? Our nation started on Independence Day. 7/4, July 4. Do you see the 74 there? July is the 7th month, 4th day, 74. How can it actually sum to 74? Well, why did they start calling it Independence Day? Because we were independent from Britain, or because it summed to 74? What are the odds of that happening? Did they choose July 4 because Independence Day sums to 74? Somebody needs to ask these questions, and somebody needs to answer them. Isn't it interesting? Look at this. July 4. Look at that. 128 again, just like Independence Day. Look at that 88 over there in the reverse ordinal. Well, wouldn't that be kind of weird that 88 is the same as Trump 88? And then look, 4/7, the opposite of 7/4. July 4? What are the chances? Well, how is this even possible? So we had our first battle at Lexington, which sums to 48 in full reduction, and July 4th sums to 48. Another crazy coincidence? How? How can it be a coincidence? Somebody explain that to me. Nobody orchestrated this or planned it? Really? So our first battle sums with the first day or with Independence Day? Come on, how? Okay, where was our first capital? Why'd they pick it? Philadelphia? Look at that, skulls and bones, 223. The number of skulls and bones, the well-known, well-documented, well-understood number of skull and bones. Look it up on the internet, folks. It's not hard to find. And then we see that it also sums to 61. Well, we moved our capital, didn't we? It's not our capital now. Washington, D.C. is our capital, and look at that. Sums to 61. You see the 187 there? It's just like George Washington. Not a big shock since it's pretty similar, but notice George Washington again, 7/4, July 4. Really? How's that? How's that possible? Oh, let's keep going with the 187s here, because our first battle was where? Massachusetts, 187. Isn't that weird? The 187 also has a 191, like 9/11, first battle of America, and it's a 9/11? Huh. What are the odds of that? What are the odds of that? And look at this. Look. Check this out. Okay. Remember how they talked about there at Concord about the shot heard round the world? 1112. What do we know that number from? Shandy Shook. I can't say it wrong and spell it right. Okay, 1112. Oh, I'm sure it's just totally coincidental, right? Right. Somebody tell me it's just a coincidence. All this just a big pile of coincidences, right? Big pile of coincidences. All right, where'd that happen? Shot heard around the world happened in Concord. And there's 117. Remember the metaphor I always say? Jew owned 117. It's the Illuminati pick. And, like the gas stations, 117. Well, did you also see, I erased it too fast. Did you see the 72 there? Well, Concord was the first battle. Well, what about the last battle, the siege of Yorktown? And another 72? Just piles and piles of coincidences? Come on. How much of this had to have been known from the beginning for it all to work? Both sides, both King George and George Washington, somehow orchestrated this to work out this way. I mean, it almost had to be like that, right? Or if I'm wrong, somebody explain how it did work, because it just doesn't make any sense. Did we really separate from Great Britain completely? Really? I mean, remember Philadelphia equals 61. Remember Washington, D.C. equals 61. Well, isn't it weird that Great Britain also equals 61? I mean, come on. So, yeah, the shot heard around the world was a big Skull and Bones, Philadelphia. Come on, we have Skull and Bones in Philadelphia. The shot heard around the world is a Sandy Hook number. What are the possibilities that all this is just coincidence? Independence Day, 128, July 4, 128. I mean, I'm beside myself. But all this just to ask one big question: were the outcomes known from the beginning? Obviously, unless you're a complete moron at this stage. 9/11 was orchestrated way in advance, just like Sandy Hook. Just like the Oklahoma City bombing. Just like all the other false flag events. They orchestrate them, they know. And just like the one that's coming up probably this August 11. And if I'm wrong, prove it. Show me how I'm wrong. Show some evidence how I'm wrong. This can't be a coincidence. This information is coming out right now to everybody because I think we're getting near the end and we need to know, we need to wake up, and we need to do it quickly. Christians, this information was given to you not so you can ignore it and just tell everybody, well, just trust in Jesus. I mean, yes, believe in Jesus for your salvation. He's the only way to heaven. That's true. 100% true, okay? And this world is not about this world. It is about the next world. But the only way that you can live in this world is to know and understand the truth of what's going on around you. How are you going to wake anybody up to eternal truths if you can't even understand the temporary truths? You see, because what happens here is a mixture and a picture and I can't think of the word, but like an emblem of the eternal and of the future. This is practice here for the eternal. And if you can't understand truth here, how are you going to understand eternal truths? God has called us to bring light to the darkness and to shine a light on these things, not to stick our heads in the sand and just say, well, I can't wait until Jesus comes. I can't wait until Jesus comes either. But we got a job to do while we're here, and that job is to expose the darkness. Our job is to be that city on a hill, that salt of the earth. And how are you going to be salt unless you're savory? You're going to have to go out and preserve something. You're going to have to go out and learn something. You're going to have to go out and tell people the truth. You're going to have to go out and confront the darkness and confront the wickedness. So tired of Christians just sticking their head in the sand all the time. So I urge you, I challenge you, find these mysteries, these hidden riddles. Understand the prince of the air, the devil, the synagogue of Satan is ruling in this world, and it is our job to both understand what he does and to expose it to those who are in darkness. I'm amazed that unsaved men have discovered this knowledge and are exposing it to the world on their own. And some of them marvel how we as Christians are not taking this and showing the whole world, wow, look what they're doing. Look at how they've been planning the world events. Instead, you run from it because you say, I can't bear to look at the world as it really is. But you're called to look at the world as it really is. You're called to stand up in the giant's face, not to cower and run. Stand up and look at what's going on in this world around you. Look at when human sacrifices are being done and say something about it. Look at the satanic ritual abuse and fight back. Don't say it's not happening. Don't just go every day to the grocery store and act like nothing's going on and be afraid to rock the boat or be afraid to shake things up and to make waves wherever you go. Be embarrassed that somebody might overhear your voice in a restaurant because you're talking about the truth. So what if people don't like you and they shove you to the side? Isn't that what we are called to do? This battle is not for those who don't fully understand the big picture. Those who've discovered gematria, they're good people. I get it. They're good. They want to do right. And they're indignant that this evil has so infiltrated our world. And they want something done and they expect justice. But they also intrinsically know that justice should be imprinted in your heart as a Christian as well, because you say you represent Christ. So represent him. Stand up. Learn the truth. Put in the work. Do the study. If you don't know how, ask questions. Thank you so much for listening today. And yeah, it's a little harsh, a little preachy today. But that's all right, because look at what they've been doing to us. And look how many centuries they've been getting away with it. Mocking us, orchestrating world events, while we sit and we do and say nothing. Even afraid to mention it because the world is so full of darkness that they actually think there's something wrong with us for saying it. I don't care. You know, when Noah went on the ark, how many people in the world were right and how many were wrong? Yeah. As far as I know, only he and Seth were right, or Shem rather. Only he and Shem were right. I don't even know about Ham and Japheth and the wives. Ham didn't seem to be right. So perhaps only 2 people in the entire world were right. Noah got off the ark. If you believe the book of Jasher, it got so wicked that only he and his family were the ones right again on the earth after a couple hundred years. How would you like that after men had multiplied and immediately after you'd been through a worldwide flood and seen the entire world destroyed, to see again that everybody on earth had turned to wickedness, and you were again, the only righteous family on earth. That's why, according to the book of Jasher, Abraham went and lived with Noah for 39 years to learn the truth. I don't know if Jasher's right or wrong. We can debate that another day. But definitely he lived at the same time, so he very well could have learned from Noah. So again, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. God bless.